The status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. The foundation leads the fight, the warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. The foundation leads the fight, the warriors lead the tribe. When the beat drops and the spirits rise, we find the truth behind the disguise. They want us to go away, only our hearts do we obey. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo, we gonna buck the status quo.
I'm Boone Cutler, and I'm the author of the Spartan Pledge. So the Spartan Pledge is a battle drill. It's a plan. It's what to do when you don't know what to do. And it's a promise to say, no matter how bad things get, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to contact you. It's also a promise to do something on behalf of the warfighter community and maintain a mission. Because a warfighter without a mission is a dead warfighter, but a warfighter with a mission is a deadly warfighter. When people touch that sword, it's like connecting with all the souls we lost. People ask me, Boone, what are you going to do with the Spartan Pledge next? I'm just the author. I'm not doing anything with the Spartan Pledge next because it belongs to the community. So the question is, what are you going to do with the Spartan Pledge next? I will not take my own life by my own hand.
I will not take my own life by my own hands
Until I talk to my battle buddy first.
until I talk to my battle buddy first.
My mission
My mission
is to find a mission.
is to find a mission
To help my warfighter family.
to help my warfighter family.
We start today's podcast on a sober note, on a beautiful Friday. We were fresh back from the Grunt Style Foundation integration retreat where we completed Boone Cutler's Spartan Pledge. I'm Hugh from Irreverent Warriors, and I'd like to pass it over to Will from Grunt Style Foundation to tell us to break the news of Boone Cutler from Grunt Style Foundation.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's a incredible, heavy loss for the entire veteran community, for the United States, and Boone was my friend, and Boone passed away suddenly yesterday, and I don't know how we're going to fill that hole. He was a lion among warfighters, and he was a man among men. And he's going to be terribly, terribly missed. So we're going to make a pledge here, for our foundation to continue on the areas of work, the Boone was passionate about that is directly relevant and important to our mission. There's a lot of overlap on that. We've worked with Boone since I got in this game. Boone was more than just a friend. He was my mentor in a lot of ways. He introduced me to the idea of cannabis as medicine. Back, I had different views on that, and he did a lot of work in that area. He did a lot of work in other alternative healing modalities. He understood very well, these psychedelic assisted therapies. He was a deeply spiritual man, and he did more for our country in raising awareness on the issue of fifth generation warfare as a tactic against our country. And that is something that we have been in the middle of for some number of years. And
that's where his theory on fifth generational warfare is where it's psychological. And it's where bad actors are turning us against ourselves, right?
Yeah, it's a very good summary of it. I mean, and this is an old Soviet tactic. The Chinese have been doing this for 5,000 years, to some degree, and it's been weaponized and perfected, I think, in recent years. But the long story short is technology's advanced to the point where we're building personas, and all of us fit into one of these personas. And, usually it's for marketing. If you like this, so if I show you this, then your predictable response will be to do that. And usually that's, something towards buying a product or what have you. But this has been weaponized to tear us apart, Algorithms, that's right. If I can put this on your feed and get you worked up and you're going to share this, now you're part of the problem. Even though from your perspective, whatever you receive, that content you receive, speaking to your heart, and it's telling you something, and you have to share that word on social media because that's somehow going to change the world to align better to your particular worldview. And that's not always the case. Instead it has the opposite effect. And so that's kind of what fifth gen warfare really is about. And one of the big messages Boone had is control your emotions and protect your mind. Don't worry about those things that are outside of your control, because why are you giving it your energy? And instead, focus on the things that you can control. Yeah. And be aware that there is this battle for your mind that is going on. And the insidious part about fifth generation warfare is that there's no real goal other than to sow the chaos. So if this domino starts toppling and that sets off a chain reaction over here,
sure,
the main actual target of the intention there may be way down the road, but all that collateral damage that's going to set off other chains of dominoes, and more chaos is going to ensue. And
it's planting seeds.
We're softened up.
It's like planting seeds of negative emotional energy in order to increase engagement on a social media platform, which leads to more revenue, and then all those secondary consequences you don't care about because you've increased revenue. Yeah. When I worked in the corporate product strategy space, our job was exactly what you're describing. And it was, no matter what it takes, do what gets people to spend more money. And if that's fear, then sow more fear. If it's more anger, then sow more anger. That's as long as we got the revenue numbers, we got the bonuses. Right. And the bonuses were very, very, very good.
That's a great mundane example of that.
Yeah.
Now put a political spin on that. Put an ideological spin.
Our whole country could be tearing each other apart, but if I'm working at YouTube and I'm in the algorithm team, I'm getting massive bonuses. because the whole and there's just a byproduct that is the whole country's tearing itself apart, and then those bad actors are taking advantage of those algorithms because their content is being pushed further,
or they're controlling the algorithm. I mean, this stuff this is all being done by nation states as well. We saw that with the Doge stuff, the money going to USAID that's going to go over to this NGO. This NGO's got this message, and this message is going to fund, that nonprofit is going to fund all these different media organizations to carry forth this thing, and it's targeted to a very specific audience who's then going to share it. It's just wild and mind blowing. But Boone was a master of understanding that. And he did an incredible job. Please, for everybody watching, if you're interested in this at all, go and check out our YouTube content. Go over to AmericanGrit.com. We've done, Tim's done American Grit episodes, fully featured with him. We've got a big segment on our episode 1 of our
Triangular Compass.
Yes, and our mental health roundtable episode. The whole last half of that very long episode is Boone presenting, at one of our events along with Tim and Monica Adams up on the stage.
Yep.
Explaining all this. So he did a lot of good work, man. But Boone was so much more than that. He was a big brother to everybody. He was that guy that it did not matter if, and I've seen a lot of tributes coming across social media and stuff that echo this, and I think it rings very true to me. One guy was talking about he felt alone, unheard, wanting friends, trying to connect, trying to be relevant. Was in a struggle bus moment, reached out. Boone would take the time. He would respond to you. He would talk to you. He would become your friend. He would give you his cell phone. You would text. Then this guy on this social media post talking about how Boone played that role for him. He said, I'm the guy that puts out memes on social media, and the only person that responds is Boone Cutler, because he takes the time to do that, to make sure that I feel seen and heard. That was kind of the magic of Boone Cutler, man. He was that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with him on the Hurricane Helene response stuff. That's when I first started working with him, and you put me in touch with him, and we were meeting, and he was extremely responsive and supportive of everything Irreverent Warriors was doing, and we were doing the convoy resupplies out to the damage hit areas during Hurricane Helene.
Oh, yeah.
And Boone's guys were doing similar activities, except they were further into the damage areas, and we were able to coordinate. And he was just fantastic, energy, fantastic, positive dude to work with. And I want to point out, he died suddenly yesterday, but I don't want to leave any question marks in the air. He won his battle with mental health. He did not die by suicide.
Oh, yes, absolutely. He died suddenly from a heart attack, and that's another incredible thing. And so this is, that's a little hard for me, but that's where I think Boone and I connected especially. His health was broken, and he was trying to figure out any way to stay alive and keep the mission going, and that was my path, and so we bonded over that. And Boone probably should have been dead about 5-6 years ago, whatever it was that he found the stem cells. He went down to South America and or Central America, wherever it was there. I think it was Colombia, but he had found stem cell therapy that's illegal here in the United States, and went down and just got a second lease on life, and supercharged him for the work of the past several years, which was so incredibly needed and so incredibly important. So he understood all of that, and I think he understood what we were doing. And I think that spoke to him in a special way with that. Plus, and he was such a multi-dimensional guy. Like, there were so many layers to him. He was a war fighter. He was a poet. He was an author. He was kind. He was a very deeply spiritual man.
Hilarious.
And hilarious, yes. Boone was very hilarious. He, but, he called me here about 2 weeks ago. It was right before Labor Day. It was a couple days before Labor Day, and he was supposed to be going down to do a Spartan sword ceremony for an incredible group of veterans, Rakasans from the 101st Airborne down in Alabama. They do a get-together every year, and it's what it's geared toward, get everybody together. They've lost a lot to suicide. To Europe. So he called me, I think it was like on Thursday, and said, like, hey, man, can you get down to Alabama for me and do this ceremony? So, of course, so we did. And
this sword is forged from 9/11 metal, correct?
Yeah. So the whole idea on the Spartan pledge is that you're vowing that you're not going to take your life by your own hand before you talk to a battle buddy. And that's generally meaning those that are in the ceremony or those that are in your network that you served with.
You have to notify somebody.
Right. Because the idea is, Boone was very forward about that. You're a grown-ass man. If you're going to take your life, you're going to take your life. And nobody's going to be able to stop you. But if you're going to take this oath, you're taking this oath to this community. And before you do that, then give them the courtesy of calling them first, because that's one of the worst feelings in the world is when you wake up and somebody's taken their own life.
100%.
And you're thinking, how come I didn't see it? Why didn't I know? So you're leaving that kind of pain behind for those folks. And he understood that. And so that was part of the message. So, they have this, the Spartan Pledge was a thing before the Spartan Sword. Around 2016, they had a veteran down in Texas that was a swordsmith, blacksmith. And there was another friend of Boone's that was a New York Fire Department guy that had some of the steel from Ground Zero. And they donated that, and they gave it to this blacksmith, and he forged this blade from Ground Zero. That is the Spartan Sword. And so that is that. But, anyway, where I was going with that, I wanted to talk about Boone's spirituality really quickly, because it was such an important part of who he was to me. Mm-hmm. He was a very deep man. About 2 weeks ago, he called, and he was in Serbia, I think it was. He's just traveling everywhere, where this place is. And he's like, hey, man, I just want you to know, this Gregorian chanting with these monks is badass. Yeah. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, I'm hanging out in a monastery with these monks, and they're doing this Gregorian chant. And there's
alpha brainwave state.
And frankincense, and how the frankincense and the combination of the chanting and the sound and the smells, and it's very mystical, and it disengages your default mode networks. And he starts really running me through the science.
Alpha and theta brainwave state. Yes, 100%. Yes, Dr. Scott would totally nerd out on that.
Oh, yeah. And he's just passionate about it, and we just had the most glorious conversation. I was sitting out on my porch, just watching the wind blow, and we had this good hour and a half conversation about spiritualism and monks and Gregorian chanting. So that was Boone, man, and he was the guy that would save your life. He was the guy that would lift you up. He was the guy that would protect your ass, and he's the guy that would save your soul. So
rest in peace, brother.
In peace, Boone,
we know you're here in spirit, man. Yeah. And speaking of what he was looking into with all the alpha and the theta brainwave state stuff, we did a lot of that at the Grunt Style Foundation Integration Retreat. We did. Almost every modality, from cold plunges to sweat lodge to hypnosis to group meditation to breath work, all of it was putting you into alpha brainwave state, and then some of it into theta brainwave state, which is where the real healing and objective self-analysis and conversations and forgiveness can occur, right? Yeah. And I think it's incredible how you were able to put together all these different healers for this retreat, that all of them in a completely different way are able to help people go inward and to get to the root of the trauma that we have been just numbing with pharmaceuticals and numbing with so many different tools, alcohol, opioids, over the years. Well, some of us, me and you, probably tried them all. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that really helped alleviate our emotional pain, at least for me, is that going inward and that objective viewing things from other perspectives and forgiving and having compassion for the people that we viewed as the people that did horrible things to us, right? And being able to extend forgiveness and all this kind of stuff.
And the most important, the terrible things that we do to ourselves and forgiving ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's like you forgive yourself and then you forgive the other person in the situation, but forgiving yourself first allows you to extend the compassion, right? To forgive the other person. But I know we've got a bunch of people on today that were at the Grunt Style Foundation Integration Retreat. And first we're going to start out with a video, a recap of everything that occurred to give all the viewers and listeners that didn't attend, so you can see what we're talking about at the Grunt Style Foundation Integration Retreat.
Come join us next year, guys.
Yeah, join us. Absolutely. More to come. We're going to continue to do these integration retreats.
Yeah, and take it on the road.
So all you gentle souls, all of you medicine carriers, all you seekers and dreamers and believers, have a wonderful event, folks.
Take a picture together.
not that every nausea is good. No, please don't walk away with that thought.
To the trees, you can put it on the land.
Polynesia in our toolbox.
How long does it take for the tech to work? And so if, for example, you have any kind of congestion,
You come in for horse hugs, which you're welcome to. You just have to mind your toes.
It's like a 100101, 90 days before your birth.
We just spin around and that's the same with pictures. On the first direction is west.
What we did some chuck roasts. We smoked them like smoked full chicken, smoked full beef. You know, everything can be done on a smoker.
People hold all this extra tension for accept and direct unified G.
Exhale.
Go out and be the light. Take care.
What a fantastic event. I mean, all around it.
Pretty amazing.
I don't think any video, that's a fantastic video, but I don't think any video can really tell the story of the tears, the hugging, the laughter, the camaraderie, the humor, you know, the bonding, you know. It was
healing.
The healing. It was wonderful. I mean, I think we had 15 to 20 IW folks that were on scholarships from Grunt Style Foundation to attend. And all I heard was just people just being, their minds being open to what's possible, and essentially them being skeptical that any of the things that were just shown could actually help your heart heal or actually help you emotionally. You know, very, very skeptical in the veteran community, right, about those modalities. And every single person that attended said, I don't know what happened, but something special happened, and they had a light bulb moment, right? Yeah. That there's something beyond pharmaceuticals, and there's something beyond talk therapy with a stranger, you know, because that's all we've been offered for 25 years. Yes. Pharmaceuticals and talk therapy with a stranger. I didn't know there was any other thing that could help mental health, you know?
And that's the really great part of the message here is congratulations, folks, for everybody that attended and had that experience. You have successfully completed the most difficult part of the journey, getting over yourself to engage it.
Yeah, the ego does not want to engage. The ego wants that, like, the easy button, right?
That's right.
So, like, what's the next diagnosis? What's the next shot of alcohol? What's the next distraction, you know?
Or just I want to go do this woo-woo shit with a bunch of hippies out in the damn woods. Are you crazy? I mean, you know, that's where I started. But
totally. I was anti-hippie, like, my whole time on active duty, you know, and I did 17 years, and that whole time I was shut off to anything that someone that looked like a hippie or acted like a hippie. I was completely shut off to it.
Hippies are for punching, not for hugs.
To learn that there's another side of that coin, and that IW can help bridge the gap between these folks that have found healing in nature and then us who have gone and found violence in nature, and to kind of bring that together.
It comes
you know?
full circle. It's a beautiful way to do it. And I think it's a beautiful message. That's what makes it a beautiful event. I'd love to talk to some of the folks that we have online here about their experiences.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to bring up Bobby and Tony first. I think we're going to hear from Bobby and Tony. They engaged in a lot of these different healing modalities, both of them. No strangers to the struggle that we've all had post-service with mental health. And hey, how you fellas doing today?
Doing great. How about y'all?
Doing good. Tony?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Awesome. I'd love to start out with Bobby. Bobby, I saw you coming out of the sweat lodge there in the video, and I remember sweating all over you profusely, and I think we were giggling and sweating all over each other as we did it. It was very, it reminded me of the gas chamber, the gas chamber on active duty. Tell me a little bit about, like, emotionally, the healing you got from this retreat, and I would love to hear about the sweat lodge and anything else that you would like to share. I'd love to hear about it.
Oh man, where do I even start? Got there Thursday night, got there early, and was able to participate in the Inipi that night, rather than waiting for the next night, which was absolutely amazing. So it's like we got there and we dove head first into these different modalities and trying to find different ways to heal. Sweat lodge was amazing. I know there's video of me coming out of it, which I didn't necessarily find so flattering, but that is what it is. So many all different modalities that they had with, and even with all the modalities, I think, and you kind of touched on it. One of the biggest things I took away from this weekend was the unity from it. Since I dove into the veteran side of things about 2020, I don't really hang out with many civilians. A lot of them don't know our struggle, and don't really understand what we go through mentally. So it's easier just to talk to people that do. But then to go to a place like this where you have people from all walks of life, you have your neighbors, you have people you wouldn't think twice about looking at on the street. We had some amazing people from South Dakota with the Lakota that were there. Just all different kinds of ways that we can heal that most people wouldn't normally think of. A lot of us have tried medicine. We've tried the talk therapy, and nothing seems to work. So, it's up to us to go out and find what does. What does work for us? What's working for other people that may work for us? Even if it doesn't work for us, get out and learn about that modality, because you may be able to share it with someone else who it could change their life.
And Bobby, Dude, I enjoyed hanging out with you the whole weekend, man.
Yeah,
you had
absolutely.
Smiles from ear to ear every time I saw you.
Yeah,
I did,
yeah, man.
I did.
And
It was it was really just about the people. That's what made the smiles. That's what made the memories. Just from sitting around talking, being in classes, learning different cultures, just everything came together, and it was just such a beautiful and amazing experience.
Wonderful.
Thanks for coming, Bobby, man. I hope to see you there again next round.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for having me,
like
and I will absolutely be there.
I definitely felt like you were supposed to be there the whole time, man. Definitely felt
100%.
that. And Tony, I'd love to hear from you, man. I know that this isn't your first time out to that neck of the woods to this type of retreat with IW, but I would love to hear from you. Were you able to engage in cold plunging? Were you able to engage in any of these different modalities? And if so, what were some takeaways you had? Something you could share with the Reverent Warriors community?
Yeah, this definitely wasn't my first time. I was out in March, and I was very timid there. I didn't really know anybody in IW. Very uncomfortable. And this time felt like a celebration. It felt like right where I needed to be. I was coming out of my shell. Bobby was there and was talking to me like we'd known each other for forever. So I just built off that momentum. The hop experience was like a celebration for me. I've had difficulty at times with my own experiences with it, but it was truly amazing then. The whole weekend felt like a Renaissance fair for alternative modalities. But sleep isn't a modality offered there, that's for sure.
Well, what was your biggest what was the big hit for you, man? What was the best one that you engaged in?
It was the biggest one was the sweat lodge, because it was really painful because I don't have cartilage in my knees. And they just kind of told me that their grandfathers would tell them that you're supposed to deal with it. You're supposed to just push through it, and that's part of the experience. So that's exactly what I did, sitting next to Hugh and all of the staff. I didn't want to leave there and walk past those guys that I look up to, so I was just keeping my butt right there. That's
fantastic. I love that. Yeah, it was a very special time. I wish we could do stuff like that every single weekend, you know?
Oh, wouldn't that be great? What a world that'd be.
That'd be wonderful. I know Tony is one of the local coordinators within IW that has identified a campsite in Virginia there in the I'm blanking on the mountains. Shannon, what mountains are in Virginia? Shenandoah Mountains, and he's identified a gorgeous campsite out there that we could maybe use one day for one of these retreats out there on the East Coast.
Well, the intent is, happy to announce for those that weren't at Integration, that we're going to take this guy on the road, man. We've done 2 pilots here. We did a part 1 and a part 2 to really kind of see if we actually learned our lessons, and now it's time to take this guy on the road and get as many people that is humanly possible to get to go to these events.
I know that Wisconsin has raised their hand.
Except
Delaware.
for Wisconsin, because Wisconsin's cold. We don't want to go to Wisconsin.
Well, hey, maybe in July we do the Wisconsin one. But Wisconsin's raised their hand. Virginia has raised their hand with Tony there and Kim. I know that Puerto Rico has raised their hand. I know Texas has raised their hand. I know Delaware has raised their hand. You know, so there's Tennessee has a campsite they've identified. So we've got some traction. They want to do these Silkies retreats, you know, because these modalities are perfect for wearing Silkies. You know, when you're in a sweat lodge or a cold plunge, you wouldn't want to be in anything else.
That's right.
So thank you very much, Tony. Really appreciate it. Now we're going to bring up Kim and Anna and talk a little bit more about integration.
Good to see you, Noam, and hello, ladies.
Yeah, he'll be back to talk about the DC event we have coming up, but. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I wanted to check in with you, and I'll go ahead and start with Kim. What was your experience at the GSF integration retreat, and what would you like to share with folks?
It was a great experience. I am very glad that I went because I am one of those people that has been in talk therapy for years, on pharmaceuticals for years, and to work through some of the stuff that I've got going on. So it was good to go and kind of learn about the different modalities that there were that I could try. You know, I did the sweat lodge the very first night that we were there. I went in there with the intention to just, you know, open me up to being open about the different modalities, even if they didn't sound quite right, you know, or something, just to be open to trying them. So, you know, so I like the sweat lodge, and I think that it did exactly that. I was able to, you know, go through equine therapy. I did the cannabis and hape ceremony. I did the cacao and sound therapy meditation. The Japanese incense. I partaked in multiple different types of modalities and was able to find some that actually worked for me, that did invoke some of the stuff that I've just been stuffing.
Fantastic.
I want to hear more about the ones that didn't sound right. Did you engage in any of those, and did your opinion change after you did?
One that didn't, you know, the cannabis and hape ceremony, I was a little kind of iffy on, not for the cannabis part, but for the hape portion, especially when it was described how it was going to feel when you took it in. And my first impression of it was, I'm not doing that again. But a few days after processing and feeling what it was supposed to do, it is something that I will, you know, try again in the future, now that I'm more informed of, you know, what the process is. I think that was one of the big ones. There was a couple that I wasn't able to get in because the classes were full, but those are, you know, I'll make sure that they're a priority at the next integration.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, hape's a rough one, man. If you're not initiated, that's a weird modality. And
it'll wake you up.
It will wake you up. It is for those that are listening that have no idea what we're talking about. Hape is a snuff, like, you know, Grandpa used to do. You know,
Amazonian tobacco that is shot by a specific healer, and it's kind of shot up your nose.
Well, and that ceremony was hape is something, you know, that anybody could administer to themselves. Even it's done through a little pipe. It looks like a V. It's called a crepe, and you blow it up your own nose, as weird as that sounds. But it's pretty amazing. And we facilitated it. This event was through what's called a tepe, which is like a weird long pipe. And one end goes in your nose, and the other person's blowing and administering it in, and the tobacco goes up. And that's it sounds bizarre, but when you experience it, it's an experience.
Yeah, it helps me meditate.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't explain.
Grounding.
Yeah, I can't explain how, but it shuts off all those voices, and then it kind of gets me into a very focused state where I'm able to concentrate on my breath and do some of that meditation stuff that I'm not normally able to do. The modality that humbled me the most at this retreat was cacao. And I was thinking to myself, like, I know it's an old Mayan tradition, right? Meditative tradition in ceremony. And I thought, oh, wow, we're going to drink some hot chocolate and meditate. This sounds super dumb. And I always go into these different modalities, I guess, with my skeptical hat on.
That's your ego, man. It's big, bold.
It opened my heart. Like, I drank it, and then we sat there for like 20 minutes before the meditation started. And it just opened my heart up to be able to objectively explore a couple of situations that I've never been able to heal from. And I just barely went into meditation. It was just doing like normal breath work, normal breathing, kind of focusing on my breathing. And these situations just popped right up. And it was like, this is what we're going to deal with. And I felt unusual. Usually when that situation comes up, it feels very anxious. And it just felt completely safe and objective. And cacao was like somehow assisting me going deeper into meditation than I normally do. And it totally humbled me. So it's not just hot chocolate.
Well, it's like the ancients knew a little something about some things, but and that's really kind of the point of a lot of these modalities, especially when you're in the plant medicine world and stuff, is that all these healings, the gateway through to that is through the heart. And if the heart's not open, then you can't really do the work. And so, when we're doing SSRIs and benzodiazepines and antidepressants, we always say one of the primary side effects of that is an increase in suicidal ideation. Well, guess what? One of the other side effects of that is it's going to put a little layer of ice around that heart because you can't connect to it.
You're numbing. Yeah, you're numbing. It numbs you out.
Absolutely. If it's taking, the point of these medications, when we think of them as a medical pharmaceutical type point of view with these SSRIs and things, we're trying to get out of those valleys. We're trying to numb ourselves to the emotional lows. Well, it also has the ability to chop off the peaks of the mountains, which is the joys, and the happiness, and the birthdays, and all the good things. So you're just kind of numb to all of it. Well, if you're numb, how does your heart open? And that is the portal to where you do the inner work, because healing is really remembering, and it's really coming to terms. It's looking at problems from a different angle. And that's a hard thing to do. That is the whole point of talk therapy, is trying to get us into looking at our things from different angles and coming to different conclusions and reconciling and integrating these experiences or traumas or emotions or whatever into our life to make us more whole. And these modalities that have been practiced for thousands and thousands of years.
10,000 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they didn't have to contend or compete with big pharma trying to give you the insta-pill kind of a fix. So I think that's the kind of philosophy of our foundation is let's look at what worked before we were in this demonic hellhole of these pills.
But what I've been told by a lot of my friends that are outside of all of this healing is that something like cacao is just what a bunch of idiots did thousands of years ago, and they knew nothing. They're dumb.
Yeah.
And that's their perspective is that these indigenous traditions are just, those were just ignorant, uneducated people, and now we've got these pills, and now we've got these laboratories because we're so smart.
Yeah, it's progress.
And it's like, but I tried all of that, and what healed me was a lot of this indigenous stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
It's fascinating, and we're not trying to replace anybody's religion or anything. We're just trying to open up gateways to exploring our own selves and coming to terms with who we are and all the bumps that we had along the road. Getting to where we are,
and using plants that were made by this universe and this planet, using plants versus things that were made in a lab. We've got Anna on, and I wanted to ask Anna. She came to the GSF Integration Retreat. This is like her third trip into the campground that we have there at Quiver River. Anna, what's your favorite thing about this retreat? What do you get from this?
Hello. Well, This trip was a little bit different because I went to go kind of get all the content I could from it as opposed to partaking in the modalities like I did at the last couple. But I really, really enjoyed this trip a lot. One, because I was working through still some of the stuff and integrating some of the stuff that I learned in the last events still into my life, so I didn't feel quite ready. But I got to experience watching everyone else find these new paths in themselves. And I got to talk to them and interview them. Some of my favorite interviews were after the cold plunge, mainly because I got to see people's fear before they were in, and then the battle they were working through to stay in the cold plunge. Excuse me. And once they got out, they were filled with this joy and light and just invigoration for life. And I asked them if just the difference between before they got into the cold plunge and when they got out, and if it was something that they were going to integrate into their day-to-day life. And that's something that I thought was really cool, is the ability for people to have these things to bring back and do every day. All of them said that they wanted to do it every day except for one, and that guy was like, well, I don't think I'll do it every day, but every few days I'm definitely going to do it.
He's still bold.
Yeah, nice. No, I mean, it's not every modality is for everybody. So I'm shocked that you didn't find more people that weren't into cold plunges. But I know that cold plunges for me, it completely replaces Xanax. Like once you start playing around with cold plunges and understanding how getting through that wall of anxiety and breath work and all the things you need in the first 2 minutes in the water, as well as the physical benefits to your body, it works way faster and way better in my mind, way healthier than a Xanax.
Oh, yeah.
And it's this natural method of doing the same thing that a Xanax does.
Yeah, and the only side effect is for the dudes is shrinkage.
Yeah. That's your irreverent dude. Yep. Like it. Well, since we have Anna on, Well, since we've got Anna and Kim on, we can go ahead and bring on Tony, too, if we have room. But I'd love to jump into next week, rolling right out of the GSF Integration Retreat on how to help heal mental health. We're rolling right into a mental health summit, and we're going to our DC Suicide Prevention Conference at Fort Belvoir next weekend. Suicidence. Stop the suicidence, because people are afraid to talk about the suicide pandemic in the veteran space. Obviously, we are not. So this conference is focused around all of that. I know we've got a lot of really cool stuff planned at Fort Belvoir out in the Washington, D.C. area next weekend, which is also the home of the Defense Health Agency.
Yeah.
So we're going to be getting a lot of interesting guests on our panels, and we're going to be having a lot of discussions around different ways to attack the veteran suicide problem. I'd love to throw it over first to Kim to tell us what she's excited about when it comes to this Fort Belvoir Suicide Prevention Conference.
I'm actually really excited about the whole thing. You know, looking at the schedule and whatnot, you know, like Friday night, there's going to be a free barbecue and concert for everybody on Fort Belvoir. And then going into Saturday with all of the panelists talking, there's going to be just 4 different blocks of, you know, covering different subjects and kind of aspects of, you know, suicide prevention. There's going to be, you know, a lot of statistics, but there's also going to be some real talk with it, and, you know, how community can help. And then after that, there's going to be a nice gala afterwards. And then going into Sunday, which is really kind of, you know, falls into Sunday Fun Day, we're going to have a buddy bowl, which is like flag football, and that's going to be taking place on Fort Belvoir. And then we're going to run right into, IW is hosting a mini hike. It's about 2 miles on the National Mall. We'll have Gold Star moms there to read something at each memorial that we stop at. And then right after that, we're going to be going into crossing the bridge over into Arlington National Cemetery to do a wreath laying ceremony.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's fantastic. I'm looking forward to all of that because I'm flying out there at the end of the week. So that sounds super exciting. Tony, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What do you bring to the conference?
So I'm helping out a lot with the flag football on Sunday. We could still use some people if people want to help sign up, but just flag football. I think you said he was doing it. So, and then also the free veterans barbecue. I want to see what the concert's like. I always enjoy a good concert, so why not? And then just exploring the panel discussions, hearing the conversations. Don't get a lot of free time to attend panel discussions or galas. I can't even say the word, but I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Sounds good. Anna, I know you're going to be traveling out there. Actually, tell us about you're going to be a keynote speaker at FSU in Florida for Suicide Prevention Month, and you're going to speak, and then you're going to fly out. Tell us a little bit about your speech, and then what you're excited about at Fort Belvoir.
Yeah. So I went to a town hall meeting at the beginning of the year, and I was speaking to someone there, and they asked me to come to their suicide prevention summit that they held annually, and I said, sure, absolutely. And then all of a sudden I realized that I was on the planning committee and one of two speakers for that at FSU. So I kind of got in a little bit over my head, but I'm excited to do it. And then we started planning this Suicide thing, which happens to be the same weekend. So I'll be driving to Panama City to give that presentation and then flying up to DC for the Suicide Summit. Now, the Suicide is a word that Ann Dunsmore, the founder of Angel Force, came up with. I believe it was when her father completed suicide, and one of the biggest issues that she has is the silence that people have around suicide, being that one suicide can change 135 lives. So one of the reasons that this summit is happening is because they're wanting to designate September 25th as the National Stop Suicide Day during Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, which is trying to call all Americans to stop being silent about the pain and the stigma of suicide. So that's something that's super cool going on about the Stop Suicide Mental Health Summit, and hopefully we'll be able to make that an annual thing.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm looking forward to making it an annual thing. It'd be wonderful for us to have a DC conference, and then 6 months later have the IW Leadership Conference, and then out in the woods, and then 6 months later have a suicide prevention conference at a military base. I mean, it just all kind of makes sense. It bridges.
Yeah, it's like we're on a warpath.
Yeah, it bridges both worlds. That's right. It's like we're on a warpath. So wonderful. Thank you all for joining us and telling us what's in store for next weekend. I will see you all in DC.
Where can I get more information on this if people are willing to attend?
IrreverentWarriors.com and click on events.
There we go.
It is the upcoming summit information is on there. Anna, any other information around how to sign up?
Yes. So for the IW events, it should be on the IrreverentWarriors.com website. And then for information about the actual summit itself and to get the prospectus, you just go to angelforce.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you all for joining us. Great seeing you, and I'll see you in a couple days.
Thank you.
And so we're going to end. We were going to, thanks. We were going to end this segment with the latest complaint of the month that we've gotten to the IW inbox. So I would love for people to, I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to ask for your feedback in the comments to see what direction we go with this complaint. But this one is from an anonymous civilian. This is a form that they fill out.
A civilian?
Yes, this is an anonymous civilian writing to Irreverent Warriors. Hi, I am not a veteran, but I accidentally stumbled onto your hike while jogging. Do you realize how intimidating it is to be passed by 80 people in silkies chanting about crayons? Please reimburse me for emotional damages. So I just want you guys to throw in the comments. Do you think we should even respond? And if we do respond, what should we say to this person? I don't even know if they don't even identify anything about them, so we don't even know what gender they are. But we do know that they're a civilian, and they did not enjoy our chants.
Well, I don't know that I'm a big fan of crayon stuff either, but I understand some marine things, so I go along with it. It's fine with me.
Crayon eaters, man. The best flavor is red.
Okay. Does it taste like cherries?
It does not. It tastes like wax.
Oh. All right.
Nice. Yeah. We'll send her some crayons.
Yeah, that'll work. And my recommendation would be to invite her to an integration event, because it's not just for veterans, everybody. That's for the general public too. It's
Healing is for all.
That's right. And
it's a democratic thing.
Yes.
Healing is for everyone.
And when we're done with her, she'll have a lot more to think about than crayons. So it'll be good.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, well, we'll leave you all with that. Thank you so much for joining us all today.
Absolutely.
Anything final on, do we want to do a send-off for Boone?
We do. And so I think we'll just integrate that in. You know, when our dear friend Daniel Jones passed, it's like, hey, we'll just tell people to stay waxy. And, now I think we'll just carry forward Boone's message into that now. So on behalf of Boone Cutler, everybody, protect your mind, control your emotions, and stay waxy.
Awesome. Beautiful. I love it. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.